Thank you to the League City Chamber. By the way, you guys are doing great. Steve, you've done a wonderful job. You should be proud of your chamber. And I guess the theme for today is pride. I am so proud of this area. We've talked about it several times in this deal, but the way we take on these hardships, the way our local government, and the way our regular, everyday folks have handled these events has truly been amazing. The last session was very busy. Being chairman of education, you can imagine that's a very difficult role, and there's a lot going on in education. There are a lot of challenges in education, how to pay for education, how to do education, how to move education into the 21st century. We're working on all those things. And a lot of people think of education as their perspective on education is however their local district is. Well, we have over 1,000, about almost 1,070 districts in Texas, 5.3 million students, which is bigger than a whole lot of states. So we have a very diverse population, very challenging some issues. So every district does not look exactly like whatever district is you're looking at. And we have some areas that aren't doing near as well as we are. We are very blessed in our area. We've got great school systems, and we're beneficiaries of that. But that's not what all of Texas looks like. And that's, unfortunately, that's where I'm working the most, is try to make sure we improve and give every Texas child the opportunities that we have in great districts like we have here in our area. But then after the session, then we had a special session, which was mostly comprised of education. So I was in the middle of all that. And then once we finished that, of course, as you all know, we all went through Harvey, which turned everyone's world upside down, including my own business, which was flooded, which is part of the reason why I ended up working with another agency. Just didn't have time to take care of it with all the other things I had going on. But I'm now working with another agency and happy to be doing that. And then along the lines of the last session of working on education, one of my bills was to form a school finance commission to really look at school finance from the top to bottom, how we bring in the money, how we spend the money, all of our weights and allotments, and all these different things. Some of those things are 40 years old. Anybody here doing business the same way they did 40 years ago? I mean, think what the prices have changed on things. And some of these formulas are so, they all had a purpose at the time they were done, but if you start stacking them on top of each other, and people don't even remember why we did it that way, when we did it 30, 40 years ago. So it's time to take a total dive into how we do school education for our K through 12 students. And frankly, we need to tie it in to higher ed. There's been this big disconnect. In fact, if you had asked universities or ask high school how well they're preparing their kids for college, they'd say great. Then you ask universities how well they prepare for college, they're not so good. So we had a huge disconnect. And we also had a huge disconnect with our employer community. So we've kind of been going down this path and just kind of keep doing the same thing the way we've always done. And now the 21st century has arrived. We're now in a global competition. We're no longer competing with easy states like Louisiana and Oklahoma. We're competing with the world. So we have to step up our game, and we have done a great job. Our schools are doing some improving. The problem is we're not improving fast enough to keep up with some other countries in this world that are, in fact, if you look at those national rankings, we have continually dropped in the international ranking of educational systems across the world. We cannot continue to do that as a country and continue to be the leading country that we are, leading in innovation, those types of things for our world. So it's important that we in Texas, being a large state, that we get it right. And so we spent a lot of time on, I can't tell you how many hours we spent in hearings in the School Finance Commission alone. We broke into 3 different working groups. Let's see, there was expenditures, outcomes, and revenue. I'm on 2 of the 3. Always a glutton for trying to be involved as much as I can, because I really want to be involved in this. This is something I never was on education before I moved to the Senate. Never was on the education committee. My first session I was put on education, and I saw what we were up against. And I saw the challenges that we have. And I have a passion for public education. We have got to move forward and make sure that we have our kids at the top of the class in education across this world, and we can do it. Look at all the talent we've already taken on. As Texans particularly, we can do this. We see challenges, we don't get discouraged. We dig in, we make it happen. So that's what we've been doing in the School Finance Commission. And there's a lot of things we're working on. The Outcomes Group, particularly looking at what do we want our kids to know at the end of 12 years? What are the things we're trying to, our goals? And we know there's some benchmarks along the way. Reading by 3rd grade. Reading at grade level by 3rd grade. You cannot believe how important that is for the rest of your scholastic career in K through 12. If you're not reading at the 3rd grade level, in third grade, your chance of dropping out is like double what it is for everyone else. Your chances of going to college reduced dramatically. It's an incredible marker. So there's things we obviously need to do to make sure our kids are on that. Because up to grade 3, think about it, you're learning to read. After grade 3, you're reading to learn. So if you haven't got the reading down, it's going to affect your ability to learn from that point forward. So we've got to move more resources in to make sure our kids are up to speed and ready to go by third grade. And that's where our challenges come in. In this area, most of our kids show up, they're already reading when they get to kindergarten and first grade. They already know the alphabet. That's not what's going on in households all over this state. So we've got to get those kids caught up and get them up to that reading level by third. Very important. There's several markers like that. And a lot of this thing is the way I look at it, and I've seen some examples of it, and Clear Creek is doing it here. They're doing some at Pasadena ISD, is self-paced education. Self-paced. You know what we do and the way we've always done it, you got put in a group based on your birthday. Remember that? Your birthday, by this you're in first grade this year. And you're going to stay with that group for the next 12 years. Do kids learn at the same pace? Not even close. And some kids just aren't ready for some things at certain levels, and other kids are. Self-paced. Let the ones that get it in that particular subject just keep going. That's how you get kids in high-level math and high-level science. Don't sit there and wait for the ones that are struggling with it. The ones that are struggling with it, spend more time with them. Let them take a little more time to get that. So by the time they get to whatever grade they have to pass them, it's not a matter of getting an A and an F. It's mastery. In fact, A through F becomes meaningless. If you take more time and you master it, everybody gets an A, just how long it takes to get there. But at the end of the day, after 12 years of education, you master it, which is a whole lot better than saying I got a 3.0 or a 2.5. How about I can do it? And I go to either career technology or I go into college or wherever my path takes me, I can do it. And frankly, these kids are going to kindergarten today. Think about it. We don't even know what jobs they're going to be doing. We don't know the challenges they're going to be facing because we don't know the products they'll be working with and the things they'll be doing. Things that people are graduating from 8th grade today, we don't know what they're going to be doing. 10 years, smartphone. 10 years. How fast is it going? We didn't know what an app was 12 years ago. Now you can't live without an app. I'm using an app right now to keep me on time. And I'll probably still be late. All right, so that's been going on. And then we had Santa Fe. I got to tell you, this interim was tough. Harvey was tough physically, mentally tired just for the hours done. But I'm telling you, we're not supposed to bury our kids. You go to 8 kids' funerals back to back, 3 in one day. That's tough. And I'm on the periphery of it. But once again, I could not be prouder of Santa Fe. Galveston County. You know, this county is so interrelated. People live in Santa Fe to work elsewhere. Everybody was in on that deal. The law enforcement response in Santa Fe, they had over 350 officers down there, ready to go in there and do whatever it took to take care of their kids. Couldn't be prouder, I'm sorry. I'm just a little weary, but this has been a tough interview. So I was appointed chairman of that safety commission, and we've now had 4 hearings, starting with infrastructure, things we could do with personnel, mental health, and then yesterday, red flag type laws. What do you do to prevent people that have histories of getting access to these guns? Every one of them is important. The most important thing is preventing it, but you can't. What we've learned during this process is there's not oh, that's a definite marker. You got one there. There's not one like that. They're all a little different. They have some idiosyncrasies, and it's not necessarily mental illness that drives these kids. A lot of it's emotional illness. They're not, you can't diagnose them as schizophrenic or bipolar or some of these other things. They have emotional issues. And those are the only way you get those through relationships. And one of the best things I heard after Parkland was somebody said, you know, rather than walking out of our schools, we ought to be walking up. And this really goes for kids as well as the teachers and everyone else. If you see a kid that's having those issues, walk up to them. If you see a kid sitting there eating by themselves every day at lunch, walk up and talk to them. We need to be doing that in our own lives. First of all, it's the right thing to do. Get your head out of your phone and look what's going on around you. And you may see people that could use a friend. And that person you may be saving you may be saving your life as well as others just by making friends. These people are so desperate for attention. One of the biggest issues we have now with these school shooters, and I'm going to wrap up quick, is a copycat. I'm sorry, the social media we have going, you know what we learned actually? The number of school shootings is actually going down. The numbers overall are going down, but you wouldn't know it because the way the media blows it up and makes such a big deal, makes heroes out of these people that have done, I don't want to say heroes, but they give them way too much fame. And some of these poor kids are sitting home not feeling loved, not having those relationships going, well, I'll show them, I'm going to get my name out there. And they're studying. Here's one consistent, they do study the previous shooters. So another thing is quick response. So we can't avoid all of them, we can avoid everyone we can. But then when it does happen, we need quick response. On average, 8 to 9 murder attempts per minute in a school shooting situation. So quick response is of ultimate importance. You know, Santa Fe, we were fortunate they got there very quickly, but still, 10 dead and 13 wounded, 23 casualties in that event. Just think we've been able to shave a minute off of that. That's another 8 or 9 people. You get down to 1 minute and save 18. So these are important. So we're looking at all these things, hardening facilities, what are the things you do? And here's the other thing, just like an education for all these different districts and campuses, they're all unique. They're all different. We can't just, there's not a magic silver bullet. Here's what we're going to do that's going to make all of our schools secure. Every one of them is different. Particular high schools, the flow of kids in and out, all the different activities. But we are working on those things. We're coming up with some very good suggestions. Regarding, once again, there's some apps out there to help schools. Seriously, panic buttons. All the teachers on the campus have a panic button. And every teacher on campus knows about it and goes out to law enforcement, not through 911, but immediately. They can start getting blueprints of the building immediately. The police can, in their cars as they're driving the scene. Then the person on the radio could be telling them what they're getting updates. But teachers could say it's in this hallway. All right, now they're moving this way. Everyone can be on the same page. And simple things like the fire alarm. You know when the last time we had a multiple fatality fire in Texas? Since the 1950s. You know how many fire drills we have a year? Because of state law. And how are people using that? They're using the fire drills against us. So we've got to do some different things on our fire drills. Alarms have a lockdown. My simple idea is that if the fire alarm goes off, great, everybody locked down, and you wait till they confirm it's a fire. These buildings are not tinder boxes. If you look at how our school buildings are built, they're not going to be burning like a tinder box. We have time to make sure it's a fire before we start sending people out into harm's way and getting shot. I'm sorry I spent way too much time on it. I've got a lot going on. I'm going to wrap it up. What was I going to say last? That was it. I was going to talk about Santa Fe Select Committee. It is truly, you know, I always say I'm proud of serving this committee, but I've never been prouder of serving a committee like this. Galveston County in this region, the Houston proud, Texas proud. I'm all in. You have proven it. I'll just tell you real quick, working after Harvey, in one particular home I was in, there were people from 5 other states. And what they told me was they saw what was going on here. Neighbor helping neighbor, stranger helping neighbor, they just wanted to be a part of it. It was so attractive. And they said that would never happen where they came from. You showed yourself why Texans are unique and why Texas will meet every challenge before us because we're filled with a state full of Texans. Thank you very much.